Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Story number 1. The Translators, written by Hypothetical Shoggoth. Hub, the ancient station at the heart of negotiated space, with hundreds of vast space routes to the hearts of dozens of empires, unions, theocracies, and ravening hunt spaces. Its core was built by the Translators aeons ago, and various embassies, trade missions, and schools had built it out over time. Now, many of the most important movers and shakers were in the Grand Primary Theatre, located near the busiest thoroughfares in the station, gathered to watch the docudrama performance about the Translators, sponsored by the Academy itself. The curtains rise, and the ambience hollow emitters fled, and the performers began their performance. Emitters in the audience's seats keep up a running commentary in the preferred language. Act 1 begins. The first act was largely narrated by a translator, standing at the corner of a stage, scene setting the deep history of the local space, recognizably simplified. Nobody is certain when the Translators arrived in our part of space. Maybe they were always here, listening, and just stepped out into the light when they were confident that they knew all the words. Even now, when their academy at Hub is open to all who can pass its admission tests, it is hard for us to trace all of our histories and cross-reference the exact point each race was greeted in its own tongue. For generations, the genealogies they have been from, the invisible lubricant that keeps the machines of commerce and diplomacy running. Something in their physiology, something in their cultures, something in their twist little brains that let them mimic and understand any other race's language, given time. They saw this, a lack of growth and communication between stellar nations, and they saw what they always seek. Opportunity. An intermission giving the audience a chance at refreshments. Then they returned to the seats, tanks, lounges, and perches. Act 2 begins. The story pivots, the performers changing out, a cast of translators taking the stage. The story is told from the viewpoint of their race, discovering that there are others out there already. They panic when they realize that many of the peoples amongst the stars excelled at many of the things the translators had expected to. Finance, manufacture, the sciences, the arts, even crime and philosophy. The translator on stage cast about, despairing, until one noticed something. For all the communications blaring throughout space, none are addressed to the other races. The aliens apparently deem each other too alien to ever hope for true understanding. At most, there are occasional dead-drop trade sites where goods are left and swapped in fair value in kind barters, never face-to-face. But the translators, in their curiosity and excitement, understood all of us. They left their home and carefully approached their neighbors, offering the chance at trade, growth, strategic defense for those of us who showed potential, education. Many academics jumped at that last, though few succeeded. It appears those who managed to get into their academy all have some minor insanity, non-debilitating, but clear in the words if you speak with them long enough. A playful quirk of mind that treats language as a toy, a puzzle, rather than a tool that keeps their society together. The translators welcomed us and let their students in on their secrets. They, too, possess this madness. This calm causes a stir in the audience as the next intermission caught them by surprise. Again, there was a flow of bodies to the commensables table, the refresher stations, and the merch shops, though they seemed more intent on arriving back before the performance resumed this time. Act 3 begins. When not on duty, they even compete, Xeno students and Translators scholars, in an ancient rite. Each submits 10 written praises in the languages of their choice. This is then read aloud by the judges, or transmitted into interpretive dance, or spun in lighter-than-air webbing, in the style of the silent spinners. The judge audience then vote via 2 vocalizations, one indicating mirth, the other indicating distress. This is still according to the translator's ancient traditions. This competition plays out, some clearly favored by the scriptwriters, some favored by the circumstances, some clear underdogs. The performance continues, fascinating the audience. Translator mirth and distress washing through the theatre as praises are communicated. Recognition is granted to the 3 performers in the competition who got the most response. A decorative, gilded mask of a laughing translator, another mask that shows the mirth on one side, and distress or anger on the other. The final trophy showed a frustrated translator with one of its manipulators firmly pressed to the top of its face. All other participants in this performed competition received tokens of recognition, a 10 plain on its face, which was also confirmed to be one of the old traditions. The competition ended, and the performers who had won reaped the rewards. They were chosen for graduation, and granted officers translating the languages that they had submitted for the competition. In this advent, the audience rippled with recognition. The 3 chosen were recognizable representations of some of the most notable diplomatic and trade translators in the past generation. Indeed, the performance wound down with montages of 3 winners' career exploits. Poised and dignified in their translator uniforms, they were shown to be students, diligent and exacting in their duties, the pride of their species and their employers. The performance ended and the curtains rose, and the actors all came out to take a bow, and several variants with smaller meanings, before filing back off stage. One remained, spotlights forming to focus on him. He waits as the audience quiets and focuses on him, then gives the universal salute. Some recognize him, the senior administrator of the Translators Academy, generally accepted to be the repository of the most linguistic knowledge in the known universe. The administrator, Mulcullen, cleared his throat and spoke. Thank you for all attending this performance sponsored by the Academy. It has been our sincere pleasure to present Pun, or our play on the words in 3 different parts. The spotlights on him flicked off, and he hustled off the stage as what he said filtered through the audience. Then the combined groan of the audience shook dust from the rafters, and was punctuated by light rioting amongst some of the rowdier species. Story number 2. Never Run from a Human in an Urban Environment, written by Loy Le Diamond. Thika watched as the blue alien woman lost her purse. The police officer failed horribly to keep up with the thief as he bolted with all his ill-gotten riches. Thika knew that they wouldn't catch the thief as he bolted through the neon-lit nighttime of the city of crime and color. Thika looked around and noticed a small ledge just within jumping height. He quickly scaled the wall and grabbed the ledge, then used it to scale the building. He ran to the opposite edge of the building and looked quickly until he clocked the thief not far from him. He made his way towards the still fleeing thief, jumping between buildings and streetlights to catch the much faster alien. The Ithakian stopped to catch his breath when he was sure that he was safe. Thika perched just above him and shouted down, "Excuse me, but I don't think that belongs to you. Leave it on the ground and walk away." The thief looked up in bewilderment, staring straight at the strange primate that was on a roof above him. He knew the human could not outpace him, so he bolted again. Thika rolled his eyes as the alien took off and continued to free-run after him, for blocks upon dirty rocks until settling into an alley highlighted in pink. The thief once again halted when he felt he was safe, and once again, Thika sat on the ledge 2 stories above him and shouted back down, "Sir, Once again, I must inform you that that purse does not belong to you." Once again, the thief looked up in confusion. "How are you here again? How are you following me?" "Well, sir, by using the ancient art of parkour. You cannot outrun me, and I suggest you turn over the purse. Next time you'll have to turn yourself into the authorities." "I'm too fast for you, silly primate. You'll have to catch me again," the thief said in a wounded tone. Clearly, he was getting tired. But alas, once again, he ran. And once again, Tiger gave pursuit. For even more streets and blocks and alleys, the thief ran. Yet this round of pursuit was slower than the last two. So when the thief landed in a blue-lit alleyway and collapsed onto his knees as he sat to rest, and once again Tiger perched above him. "Good sir," Tiger began, causing the thief to perform a half-hearted jump, "this is your last chance to return the purse to me. I must urge you to surrender yourself, or stolen goods, or I must report you to the police." The thief stared at Tiger in disbelief as Tiger hung above him by holding onto a pole, before tossing the purse onto the ground and tiredly walking away. Tiger worked his way down the building and picked up the purse, before skating back up the building and making his way back to the victim and handing the purse back to her. End of story. The algorithm reckons you should be watching this video next, and I recommend that you should be always watching my video. So, click with energy! And yes, clicking that does help the channel. Thank you very much. I would just like to give a quick thanks to the T5 channel members and patrons: Alithia, Parky, Fudic Yol, Meridian117, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, Angry Marine, Lord Azrakal, and White Van 420.